What is going on YouTube? Gabons here and welcome to this new video. Today we're going to check out a gaming Linux laptop from the folks over at Star Labs. I'm talking about the Star Labtop Pro. So with no further ado guys, let's check it out. The Star Labtop Pro is a mid to high range gaming laptop by the folks over at Star Labs. For the record, as in my previous Star Labs laptop video, this is a Clevo as well. But let's get some specs out of the way. The model they sent me for review packs an Intel Core i7-7700HQ, 32GB of DDR4 RAM, a 500GB Samsung NVMe SSD, an Nvidia GTX 1050 Ti with 4GB of video memory, and a beautiful 14 inches 1080p IPS display with a matte finish on it. This particular configuration I've got here would cost 1,417 British pounds, which at the time of recording this video is about 1,596 euros or 1,877 US dollars. Now that's a pretty penny. But the base model with just 8 gigs of RAM and a 250 gigs NVMe SSD will cost you 1,132 British pounds, which again is about 1,275 euros or 1,500 US dollars, which is a more reasonable price. Now that we have these numbers out of the way, let's start talking about the actual laptop itself. As for its little brother, the Star Labtop, the Pro comes in a rugged carrying case. Well, I'm not sure if I'd want to use it to actually carry this laptop around, but it's very cool indeed. Most gaming laptops out there have a somewhat decent build quality and tend to make a heavy use of plastic for the body. The Star Labtop Pro is quite a bit different. The back of the screen is made out of metal, aluminum presumably, as well as the internal palm rest area and the keyboard deck. The screen bezel and the bottom are made out of plastic. And this actually does make sense since it will prevent your legs from getting burned if you use it on your lap and if the laptop gets particularly hot, which is a possibility considering that this thing packs quite some powerful components. The screen lid is solid, probably thanks to the metal back, and it doesn't seem to bend or flex at all. It's also possible to open it with just one hand without holding the base, and that's very convenient. The same goes for the keyboard area, no flex here either. Speaking of the keyboard, I think it's a very nice one. It has a good tactility to it and I feel comfortable typing on it. It's got a white backlight, which is always useful, and it has a standard font face instead of some gamery rubbish, which is good, but the WASD keys have some red arrows on them. I don't think they look particularly good, but I mean it's not the end of the world. The keyboard has full-size arrow keys and that's something that I personally like a lot. And the nav keys are laid vertically on the rightmost side of the keyboard. Also, since my review of the Star Labtop, Star Labs decided to give the possibility to get the Tux logo on the super key, since many of you apparently didn't like the Windows one. I think this is an awesome finishing touch, but to be honest, I don't care too much about it. The power button is located in the middle above the keyboard and it lights up blue when the computer is on. You may or may not like it, but personally I do. The trackpad is another thing that I liked a lot from this laptop. It's big and precise, and although I usually prefer clickpads, the dedicated physical buttons on this laptop just feel great. They're tactile, they have quite the travel, and they're incredibly pleasing to click. Gestures work fine too, since the trackpad is so big you will have no problems using them. This laptop has a very nice variety of ports. On the left side you get 2 mini display ports, one HDMI, one USB 3 port, one USB Type-C port with Thunderbolt 3 support, and finally microphone, headphones and digital audio ports. On the right you get a Kensington lock, an Ethernet port, 2 more USB 3 ports, an SD card slot and a SIM card slot that unfortunately has no modem inside, so you cannot use it as it is. The power port is located on the rear. I'm not sure why that is, but it doesn't get in the way. If anything, it stays out of the way when you're using it. Now, talking about the screen, it's pretty unusual to see a gaming laptop in a 14 inches form factor, but I think it's refreshing to see something new and different like this. The screen looks very good, to be honest. The colors are saturated and the overall image quality is on point. It's 1080p and I think it's fine for this size. Besides, gaming on a 1050 Ti with a higher resolution wouldn't be a great experience in my opinion. Speaking of gaming, the graphical performance of this laptop is on point. I did some benchmarks so that you can have a better idea of what it's like to game on this laptop. But before jumping on those, I just want to spend a little time to talk about how I managed the Nvidia graphics. This laptop, as many others out there, uses the Nvidia Optimus technology. This means that you default to the integrated Intel GPU and use the Nvidia GPU on demand when you need it. Now, Optimus support on Linux is kind of all over the place. The go-to solution for managing Optimus is traditionally Bumblebee, but in my experience it causes a huge performance drop compared to what the GPU is capable of. Recently I discovered another solution to manage Optimus, and it's called Nvidia X Run. Without getting into too much detail on how it works and what it does under the hood, I can say that the performance I gained from using it was astonishing. Once you install it, to actually use it, you have to preferably log out from your current session, go to an empty TTY. In example, I press Ctrl Alt F3 to go to TTY3, log in and run Nvidia Dash X Run, followed by the command to run your desktop environment of choice. You can also put the command you want to run in the .nvidia-xinitrc in your home folder so that you can just run Nvidia Dash X Run with no arguments. It may work out of the box or it may not, depending on your machine. I will leave a link to the Arch Wiki page about it in the description if you want to learn more about it. So, back to the benchmarks. I used the Phoronix test suite to run them, and here are the results. Also, if you want to get a closer look at them, you will find a link to the test results page in the description. I ran all of these tests with the highest settings to get a better understanding of what this laptop is capable of. Starting from Mad Max using OpenGL, we get some pretty average frame rates between the 30s and the 50s, which is perfectly playable. Turning down the graphics a little bit will probably get you a stable 60 FPS for the best experience. Using Vulkan with Mad Max again, we can see quite a big improvement in performance. I won't consider the min and max frame rates with this game since it looks kind of unrealistic. Probably it counted the times right before and after the rendering started, and that's why those values are so high and low. With Vulkan again, with the highest settings, we don't get an average value lower than 55, which is pretty great if you ask me. Moving on some less demanding games, Tesseract got an average of 263 FPS, while Sonatic got an average of 189. These results are not that valuable by themselves, but you can use them to compare this laptop to other system configurations you can find on openbenchmarking.org. As always, the links are in the description. I also ran Unigine, Heaven, and Superposition, and I got 54 FPS on the first one and 43 on the second one, and these results are the ones that impressed me the most. They're both pretty demanding benchmarks, especially Superposition, and I was happy to see how well this laptop performed in both, again at max graphics. In normal usage, this laptop is practically 100% quiet. Once you start playing and the fans kick in, you will definitely hear the fans, but in my experience the noise isn't too bad. It's not really annoying, but you probably want to use headphones when playing anyway. About the speakers, they're a little above the average. They're decently loud and the quality is there. They're good for content consumption and even some casual gaming, but obviously for competitive gaming you don't want to rely on speakers. The webcam looks pretty average. It's 1080p, but the quality isn't particularly good. The color says decent. It seems to be fluid. It's a little bit on the dark side, but it's okay. You can also hear how the microphone sounds. I think it's pretty good for what this laptop is, and that's it. Judge it by yourself. The battery life is, again, average for this category, with approximately 2 to 4 hours of use with the screen brightness at half. After all, this is a gaming laptop, not an ultrabook. Finally, let's talk about the OS. This laptop was sent to me with Ubuntu, but I installed Arch on it right away, as I usually do with all my machines. The installation was flawless, except for one thing. Because of how the BIOS works, if you want to install another distro other than the pre-installed Ubuntu, To correctly boot into it, you have to append this string to the kernel command line arguments. So you have to edit your bootloader configuration, be it grub or systemd boot. It's a little bit annoying, but Starlabs told me that they're working on it right now, so hopefully they will release a new BIOS update soon to address this issue. Overall, I can say that I'm very satisfied with this laptop. It packs a great performance in a decently small form factor. Even if the battery life isn't great, it's enough to be using it a little bit when on the go. It would make for a great replacement for a desktop PC too. Gaming on it is a pleasure, especially with well-optimized games like Mad Max and Ballistic Overkill. As Starlabs gives full support for Linux on their machines, I've been having a great experience with the Star Laptop Pro. I didn't find any issue or compatibility problem, well, except for the command line arguments thing. And I've been enjoying a high-end Linux laptop that just works out of the box. If you are interested in buying the Star Laptop Pro, you will find the link to buy it in the description down there. So guys, this is gonna wrap it up for this video. Thank you very much for watching, I really do appreciate it. If you like this video, please make sure to press the thumbs up button down there, and also remember to subscribe to my channel if you want more of this. Also make sure to check out my website at techpills.technology, you will find a link in the description down there. Again guys, thanks for watching and I'll be seeing you in the next one.